Boys, it took me nearly a decade to actually learn what moves the needle for chest, because if you're anything like me, I used to have mass on my chest, but it didn't quite sculpt out and poke out the way I was looking for. So what I learned is basically the only variations that actually move the needle for me, and it's probably gonna do the same thing for you. So without further ado, let's get into today's video. I don't feel like being shirtless. Kind of getting cold here. Honestly, that's enough. The only reason why I have to start off my videos low-key without a shirt is because it's like, well, what do you know? You know what I mean? I have to unfortunately prove myself, but you know, that's what we're here to do. Crusaders don't complain, but first order of business is we are going to tuck in the shirt, absolutely. But I'm going to share with you the 3 movements that are going to move the needle for you, because trust me, I was the guy who could flat bench over 300 pounds and still my chest was looking vastly worse than the dudes that weren't even lifting 250. Which told me it hardly had to do with the amount of weight I was pressing, although strength's important. It's about taking that strength and really putting it in the right spots, right? How are we gonna allocate our energy in the right ways? That way we actually get what we want to out of this, which is strength, but also the aesthetic portion of this. So without further ado, let's get started with number 1. Number 1, incline pressing. And a lot of people get super finicky about, oh dude, what angle should I be putting it at? Honestly, like around 45 degrees. You don't gotta be crazy about it, right? But what I will tell you is change it up. Sometimes go a little bit more steeper, sometimes go a little bit more flat. But for the most part, you just wanna be progressing in an incline movement, right? Something like a Smith machine, even though, you know, I've tended to disrespect it a lot in my life, but with limited equipment, there's really not much I can do, right? Because I could do the dumbbell or barbell version, but I don't have enough weights for it to really move the needle. But I do have enough for the Smith machine. So no matter how you're progressing, but you have to make sure you're doing it properly. So what I like to do, and a lot of people tell me, oh, you arch too much. I like arching, not to the point where like my chest is flat, but I like retracting my scapula and then pressing, otherwise you're gonna hurt yourself, right? Especially when you start doing a lot of weight. And all I'm doing is kind of going shoulder width apart. Touch, elbows locked in, up. And this is how my sets look in my reps. Especially with the Smith machine, take advantage of the fact that it's stable to really lock into the muscle. Got a little bit lightheaded there, but that's kind of the big part about this. You want to make sure you're progressing, but properly. A lot of people just try to throw around the weight. Of course, I also have sets where it's just like, I'm just looking to move the weight explosively, but on the way down, you want to make sure that you're really locked in. You should feel a stretch as it's touching your chest, and as soon as it touches, boom, you fire up. It's not that the stretch is magic. The stretch just sets up a proper contraction. If you think of it that way, it's going to go a lot further for you, and you're going to have the upper chest shelf that's popping out through the shirts. Variation number 2. This, in my opinion, is the biggest bang for your buck, exactly what you came this video for, and it's weighted dips. Weighted dips completely transform my chest. And part of the reason is because no one's really out here prioritizing any calisthenics, especially in the weight room. Especially for back, the foundation is weighted pull-ups for me, and the foundation for chest and triceps, but more so chest, is the weighted dip. I'm telling you right now, especially when you implement it correctly, it's gonna transform your chest entirely. Because a lot of times, like, people think of stuff as an inner chest, and there's gonna be some warriors down. No such thing as inner chest, bro. Got it, bro. Thank you very much. I appreciate your input. The point is, you know what I'm talking about. That is how you get that extra layer, that 3D you're looking for. Because you know you have mass, especially if you clicked on this video. Definitely been doing a bunch of flat benching. And guess what? Flat bench ain't gonna be shown in this video for a reason, because you've probably built up a pretty decent base because that's how you thought you had to grow it. This is what we call maximizing results in as little time as possible. You wanna know why? Because people that can weighted dip a lot of weight seem to have a higher flat bench, but people that can flat bench a bunch don't really do well when it comes to weighted dips. For me, I love that crossover. That's why I showed you the incline press. If you have a higher incline press, typically you're probably gonna have a higher flat bench. Works the exact same way with weighted dips. So let's stack up some weight. Oh, Jesus. This is heavy. Okay, I know what you're thinking, dude, this seems like an awful lot of weight. It is a lot of weight. I'm not gonna sit here and cap on you, okay? It absolutely is a lot of weight, but it's very worth it. Okay, now I will say I technically already did a chest day, so ease up with me, okay, on these reps. But outstanding on a rainy day, no excuses. But when you're coming down, a lot of you guys stop halfway through. I'm stretching. Boom. I go till I feel the stretch. Explode up. Boom. Up. Now, usually on those, I get between 5 to 6 reps. A little bit sloppy on the reps, I won't lie, but you're seeing the cadence. I'm gonna say it literally over and over again. If you focus on the negative of the movement, you're gonna get a much more powerful contraction. And then every rep comes out beautiful. And then as a result, your sets come out beautiful. You don't even need as many sets anymore. You don't need your 4 or 5 sets of spamming. You can do that in 2 and get exactly what you need to done, because it's about literally going as heavy as possible with quality reps. But we wanna make sure we're getting stronger while not compromising on the quality of our reps. Anyways, that's number 2. Let's get into number 3. I'm not gonna lie though, you do feel pretty gangster rolling around in the vest. But the third one is definitely one you've seen, which is cable flies. But like I said, a lot of times it's how we're doing these things. It's not necessarily even in the exercises, although of course, because the exercise is the same, but it's funny how you have 2 different people doing the same exact exercise and somehow one yields way better results than the other, which tells you it has hardly to do with anything besides the fact that, oh, it really does come down to quality. I like going high to low typically, but I also like going low to high, but I don't have that ability. But that's the beauty of understanding what quality reps are supposed to look like. Because all I'm doing, like I've said on all 3, it's the stretch that I use. And once I have that, now I'm crossing over. Boom. Let's get that thing out of here. Stretch, stretch, stretch. And one thing I'll tell you is working on your injury resilience in terms of your shoulders, rotator cuff, rear delts, rhomboids, traps, allows you to get in much deeper stretch positions. Pause. But that just means we're able to recruit more muscle fibers and therefore much more of a stimulus. And that's it. Those are your 3 variations. And if I were looking more for upper chest, definitely low to high is the way to go, right? But I could also, if I really wanted to, just have much higher elbows when I'm coming down. And then that way, just like that. It's all about adjustment. If I wanted lower, I would sit up much more straight and scoop out my lower chest. Okay, I'm dead. But you get the right idea. Point is, if I'm going lower, the reason I want to sit up is because I'm going to notice that that stretch is a lot deeper. And then that way the contractions take care of itself. Mid-chest, you saw in that first one. Upper, same idea. You want to feel your fibers literally along your collarbone. Stretch, 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 stretch. Boom. Even if you're going low to high, you want to feel that sink in deep. Boom. It's not that the stretch is magic. Like I said, it sets up a much more powerful contraction. I've always wanted steroid-like allegations without the roids. Sounds absolutely phenomenal, right? But I also didn't want the gym to be my entire life. Funny enough how that works. Now I'm on YouTube doing videos, right? But the point of me saying this is how I've thought about everything in my life. 3 pillars on this page: strength, resilience, character. I think of everything under those 3 lenses, because here in Crusadia will be coming to you soon. This is exactly what it's all about. Like, for sure, I know you came in for a chest video, great. You now know what that's like, but it's all the same thing, right? You came into the gym because you wanted to be a certain way. You saw yourself and you're like, I know I'm capable of more. And I feel like I'm different from most people around me, but everyone's telling me and smothering me, telling me I need to be normal. Don't do that. Outliers have been failed by modern society. And my point in me saying all this is the way I lift and what I've been able to do just with fitness, without it really honestly costing me much mental bandwidth or time, It's because I've always thought this way. I knew I could get steroid-like allegations as a complete 100% natural. I knew I could do that. If you ask most people, they'd be like, no, it's impossible. You have to do X, Y, and Z, and you have to count macros. I didn't do any of that shit. And I plan to do the same exact thing in every other part of my life, through my businesses, relationships, all of it. And that's the point. Don't let people tell you it's impossible. Don't let people tell you you aren't capable of shit. Trust me, because by the time you get it, then those things that you really wanted people to tell you, like those cheerleaders, you wanted people to clap for you and be like, hey man, I think you can do it. We all want that, don't get me wrong. But by the time you get those things, you won't give a shit because you've earned your own self-respect. At the end of the day, it's you. You have to live your life in your body. Don't take advice that doesn't agree with your insides. God gave you instincts for a reason. Trust them. Anyways, I appreciate watching this video. I hope this is well worth your time. Honestly, nice little chest day. Feeling absolutely phenomenal. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of you guys are like, hey, Rommy, how about that pump? Psych, I'm not gonna give you a pump show, okay? We're reserved here. We're class. You see me? I'm tucked in like a gentleman. Uncle Rommy, you started off this video with your shirt off. What are you talking about? That's different. Okay, that was to show you that I know what I'm talking about, bro. Okay? But real talk. If there's anything you guys want specifically, please drop it down in the comments. If people like those comments, please give those a thumbs up and then why don't I make a video on it. If you watched through the end of this video, I appreciate you very much. I'm telling you right now, this is going to move the needle on your chest a ton. I love you guys. From Uncle Rommy to the Natural Crusaders. Crusadia coming to you June 22nd, 2025. This is just the start. Where we're going with this page, I'm telling you right now, all of my life's work is quite literally for this. Everything I've ever learned in my life, it's funny how it works, but it's all literally been for this. Since the moment I started posting even just a year and a half ago. You know, on Instagram, we've done pretty well. YouTube, we're starting to trick up a little bit. Still kind of, you know, still moving along, but it's crazy when you're doing something that's aligned with this and you ain't thinking about all the features, how you get everything you've ever wanted so quickly. Could not imagine me being in this type of spot just a year and a half ago when I hit my first post share button, you know. But anyways, I love you guys. Uncle Rommy out. Peace.